Arsenal 3, Manchester United 1. That's Joe Smith. I'm Jay Motti. This is the live review. Joe, can I be honest with you?
Go on.
Can I shock you?
You're quite happy?
I'm becoming immune to this now. I am. Do you know what? Can I shock you even further? I'm glad we've got the early kickoff. I'm glad to just get it out of the way and move on for the weekend because we're shit.
Yeah.
You know, to coin the streets, you're shit and don't you know it?
Yeah.
And I just feel like I'm just accepting it now.
Yeah.
Is that one of the stages of grief? Is acceptance a stage? I think there's denial, there's anger, there's bargaining, there's acceptance, and there's something else.
So the 5 stages of grief are denial.
Yep.
That was under Moyes.
Yep.
Anger, that was Louis.
Yeah.
So frustrating.
Yeah.
Bargaining was Jose's. Like, we're dancing with the devil, but we've won a couple of trophies. Yeah. Depression was when Ollie got sacked.
Yeah.
Because we finally thought we might have something. And then now it's acceptance.
So we have reached acceptance.
Yeah.
We have gone through the 5 stages of grief and we've reached acceptance.
Yeah.
Because you've summed that up perfectly.
Yeah.
I can feel a video coming on. Where you're just accepting that United, I think this telly's going to go off as well if someone wants to press a button, aren't very good.
Yeah.
We're consistently almost getting worse.
Yeah.
You go from 4-0 at Anfield, which is, well, let's have it go back a bit. 1-0 against Everton, atrocious.
Yeah.
You get a win against Norwich. 4-0 against Liverpool, very poor. You go to the Emirates. And again, signs at first, in the first half especially, you know, we're going to make a bit of a fight of it. I felt the referee in the first half had a stinker. I felt like we were the better team in the first half, being honest. They got some decisions. But then in the second half, you missed the penalty.
Yeah.
You let them back in it. You give them so much time on the ball, especially in that midfield area. I was watching players who, for me, are okay for Arsenal, having so much time, miscontrolling it and still being able to get the ball back and stuff like that. You know, we make players like Granit Xhaka
I was going to say,
look like, you know, the second coming of Paul Scholes.
Granit Xhaka is very much a known quantity in terms of Premier League footballers. We've seen a lot out of Granit Xhaka over the years, and we know he is bang average.
Yeah.
He shouldn't even really still be playing for Arsenal after he's, you know, swearing at the fans and getting the piss taken out of him as captain. A situation we find ourselves in now with our own captain. But we know how good Granit Xhaka is. He can be used as a sort of a baseline test for any other player in the Arsenal team. And when he's looking good against you, you know you fucked up because he's just bang average. And then El Neni, another player, bang average, looking good against us. Odegaard, decent player, looking great against us when he's a good, tricky player. Like Tavares at left back, shocking defensively today. Elanga's going past him left, right, and centre, and yet somehow he's popping up in our box to score against us after 2 minutes. Like, let me just take you through some of United's results. Since we beat West Ham 1-0 in the 22nd of January, these have been our results.
Go on.
Lost against Middlesbrough, drew against Burnley, drew against Southampton, beat Brighton, beat Leeds, brilliant. Drew with Atletico Madrid, drew with Watford, got battered by City, beat Tottenham, then we lost to Atletico Madrid, drew with Leicester, lost to Everton, just about beat Norwich, and then we got battered by Liverpool and Arsenal.
So that's 11 games there that haven't been good enough.
No.
Now, the players are, conning a living, not good enough, out of form, all the rest of it. I get it. Ralph Rangnick was pointing out before the game or the other day about this is going to take more than minor surgery or whatever his words were he used. How much responsibility do you think he has to take for this as a coach?
I think
that's pretty grim reading what you've just read out.
I think he's got to the point where he is sacrificing the short-term results of this team for what he sees as medium to long-term change at the club. I think he got to the point, it felt as though, just looking back at those results, it felt as though maybe the Atletico Madrid game was where he went. I mean, he'd been honest up until then. I think he's just an honest person. But I think once we're out of the Champions League, he was like, fuck this, I'm just lighting the curtains on fire. Like, I think he's willing to accept we're going to lose games like this. We might lose next week. We might lose to Chelsea. We might lose the game after that. We might lose the game after that. Was it Chelsea, Brentford, Brighton? We could easily lose away to Brighton. We could easily lose at home to Chelsea. Brentford, who knows what could happen. I think he's willing to accept we are going to be shit for the rest of the season with the hope that everyone can see how far we need to improve or how much we need to improve.
Like, do we need?
Yeah, I think at some point
we do. Do we need a reminder?
All right then. What we've known as a fan base for what, 10 years or so, coming up to 10 years. I mean, even when Fergie was there, we knew that behind the scenes things weren't right, but Fergie papered over the cracks until he left. So let's say since Fergie left, as Manchester United fans, almost unanimously, we've all known there are huge problems here.
Yeah.
And there's been nothing done to rectify those problems. So maybe we do need that reminder. We don't need it as fans. We're sat here watching. We know that the people above him aren't football minds or haven't been football minds. We know that the scouting team is behind everyone else's, that the training ground is behind the top teams, that the network of sports scientists and people that look after the mind and the stats of the football team aren't there and aren't up to the standard of everyone else's. But the club and the owners clearly either didn't care or didn't know or ignored it. I think we do need that, a public reminder from someone that is employed by the club that we're shit.
No, I get that. I mean, like, the sort of impression I get from what you say, forgive me if I misconstrued it, is that, like, it's almost like, these results in these games are a bit like just him showing us, look, this is what I'm fucking.
Well, I don't think he's trying to lose games. What I'm saying is, I think he probably knows that his words and his honesty, basically saying we need to rip all this up and start.
I mean,
again.
I like Ralph Rangnick as a person and what he's saying.
Yeah,
I just think that as a coach, he's been massively disappointing for me.
Yeah.
Personally, I mean, in terms of, I didn't expect us to be this bad.
No.
I didn't expect to watch so many bad performances by Manchester United and so many changes that just haven't worked. We're constantly changing this team. 1 minute it's Wan-Bissaka, then it's Delo, then it's Phil Jones, then it's Harry Maguire, then it's Victor Lindelof, then it's it's Anthony Elanga, then it's Marcus Rashford. Yeah. And I know he's not working. He can't make a gourmet meal with a pot noodle and some cold water. I get it, but I just feel like, as a coach, I have been disappointed. I'll be honest with you. I'm like,
I think the results haven't.
And I'm not blaming him
good, have they?
for this, because I look at today, and I think there's an element of certain things that are out of your control, referee decisions. Yeah. If you look at it, we should have had a penalty in the first half. They shouldn't have had one. That could have been a different game. You go, well, Bruno missed a penalty anyway. It's a different penalty, isn't it? It was the first half. Yeah. It's just a completely different scenario. And there was one or two things where you think, we could have, that was a bit unlucky. I think Xhaka's goal, De Gea is a little bit onside. But little sort of individual battles, little individual performances just aren't good enough.
No.
Too much time on the ball for Arsenal. This is not a good Arsenal team. We made them look good, but we stood off them. When they played Crystal Palace, that was the other game they lost. Palace were on him. Palace didn't give him time to breathe. Palace kept getting hold of the ball and doing things with it. When they played Brighton kept on him, kept it tight defensively, didn't give him space, didn't give him any time. The same with Southampton. We did the opposite, standing off him.
I mean, look at Brighton against United. They only lost that game because they had 10 men.
Yeah.
They dominated United. They controlled the ball. They controlled the game, and we got lucky that they had someone sent off. It was a fair red card, but we wouldn't have won that game if they had 10 men.
I just can't even be asked going next week. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Like, I will, because of duty.
Yeah.
To like get behind the team, and I feel like I've got it. But I genuinely just feel like I'm already done with this season, because I'm watching a load of players who huffing and puffing now and again. But by and large, some of them I think are just like, this season's done. Like, we went 3-1 down there, right? There was, 20 minutes to go, whatever?
Yeah.
We counted injury time, I can't remember. But there was
like
enough
74th minute, so 20 minutes to go with stoppage.
There's enough time there against this team. You get a goal within the next 10 minutes. There's all to play for. Do you know what I mean? And I don't even think there was any real belief.
No.
He makes changes, and he brings on Rashford and Lingard. Both players as bad as they've ever been for Manchester United at the minute. Yeah? I'm not saying I don't like him. I'm not saying that they're not good enough in terms of their ability, but they haven't been good enough this season. They're as bad as they've ever been. And he brings on Juan Mata. Yeah. And I just think it's almost like it's lip service.
Yeah.
It's like, got to do something.
Trying to make a sub.
And I get it. I get doing something. But I just feel like we haven't got any options at the minute. We've got a manager who's not going to be here in 3 weeks as manager anyway. I know he'll be a consultant. We've got players, half of whom aren't going to be here. The ones that are probably just already looking at, I've got to convince Ten Hag out this season's a write-off. I'll maybe get in the manager's office when the season starts, or when we have pre-season, I'll turn it on then.
Yeah.
Because it just feels like every game is just bringing new frustrations and new deflations. It's just, I thought the Liverpool game was bad, but at least with Liverpool, I can look throughout that Liverpool 11 and go, do you know what? I don't even think we've got one player that gets in their team, because I don't. Yeah. I look at that Arsenal team, and how many of theirs getting arse?
2 or 3 max.
Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
Player for player, that is not a good team.
It's not, is it?
It's a team full of people willing to work hard who are bang average in terms of quality. We've got people who are above average quality who cannot be asked.
I feel sorry, right? Ronaldo's just been through an absolute tragedy, right?
Yeah.
awful thing, he's come back, effort, energy, ability, everything. You can't fault him. Do you know what I mean? From the first whistle, he's running his heart out, gets a goal, trying to make things happen.
Yeah.
And you look around him and you think, Sancho did okay. Elanga started brightly, just faded. And I feel like we're running him into the ground.
Yeah.
I feel like he's going to end up burnt out because he's a 19-year-old kid who, by right, should have played about 10 games this season. And he's played, about 30 or something stupid. Yeah. And then, you're looking at the fullbacks. Delo hit the bar, okay. Gets forward, produces save by Ramsdale. But that thing that you said, I mentioned it in watch along, was ringing in my ears. Elanga's got a tap in, and you're like, he probably couldn't make that pass. Yeah. I think, why can't I make that pass? I'm not disagreeing with you. No. Why can't I make that pass? Why have we got a fullback who can't make a pass?
And again,
to someone like that,
for their first goal, Tellez nowhere near. I mean, Varane fucks up. Let's be honest. Yeah. Varane tries to control the ball, and actually he doesn't control it. He just takes it away from Tellez and gives it straight to Saka. But from there, Tellez never gets close to Saka. He has a free shot on De Gea, and Tellez is 2 or 3 yards away from him. Then the ball gets deflected away, and it's their left back that gets to it before our defender does. Dallow's just never goal side in those moments. There's too many players ball watching. And 2 points here from Paul Scholes. One is today after the game, he said, I had a quick chat with Jesse Lingard the other day, and I'm sure he won't mind me saying the dressing room is just a disaster, which is, doesn't surprise me to hear, but obviously is awful to hear at the same time. Clearly everyone's fucking sacking it off. Rangnick's probably, setting things on fire. And
the thing is, what do you think, right, about Rangnick's comments? How would you think that's going to affect players? If I came into work, right, and let's say on this video now, I said, this channel is a fucking mess, right? The staff are shit. This is not true, by the way. I love you all. Do a great job. The presenters are rubbish. Yeah. The content is drivel. The socials are an abomination. Am I going to get a response off everyone? Yeah, probably. Is everyone going to go, tell you what, Jay's great, let's try harder for him? Or are they going to go, he's a cheeky twat. Yeah. We're trying to, what's the point of even bothering for him? Especially if I said, oh, by the way, I'm leaving in a month. Yeah. What's the response you're going to get? Yeah, so, you know what I mean?
Well, that's what I'm saying about, I think Rangnick knows that, and I think he's willing to take...
It's not a little bit bizarre, do you think?
It is a bit bizarre, but I think we're looking at a long-term
thing.
It. Let me just...
Sorry, bro.
The next thing on this, so I searched Paul Scholes Lingard in Twitter to get that quote. Yeah. The second result is a video from BT Sport in 2017, so 5 years ago. Right. And it's Paul Scholes saying... he calls on Man United quartet to start producing. And those 4 players are Jesse Lingard, Paul Pogba, Marcus Rashford and Anthony Martial. 4 players still at the football club 5 years later, still not producing 5 years later. So there is a quality, there is a fact that we keep on players who, like Paul Pogba, we've been talking about needing more from him since he joined. Martial the same, Lingard the same. Rashford, of those 4, has had the most prolonged spells of productivity. But even him at the moment is, like you said, the worst form he's ever been in. We've got players 5 years on that arguably weren't good enough in 2017. Like, we're so slow to turn. We're such a battleship of a club.
That run of games you've pulled up there, bro. Sorry to
the results.
Yeah. Go back to how many goals knocked Ronaldo in those games. Okay. Just have a look through. And everyone get involved in the comments. Hit that like button as well. Hit the like button. While Joe looks for that, I'll just say that, obviously, we've still got games to play, and I want to see now a response from these players, because you've got fans that are paying money to go and watch it. You've got fans that are getting up, we know because they're in our chat, getting up at 3 o'clock in the morning to watch Manchester United. You've got fans that care and that, weekends are ruined when they have to watch this drivel. So you want to see energy from the players. You want to see effort. They're getting paid, some of them, like 350 grand a week. There's no excuses now where you can just go, oh, we ain't going to get top 4, so what's the point? There is a point every time you put on a shirt for Manchester United Football Club to try your hardest, to try your best. We shouldn't just be relying on the likes of Elanga running around or Hannibal coming on for a 5-minute cameo, looking like players that care. Every single player that comes on that pitch for Manchester United should care. We've seen it with Ronaldo. The guy's won 5 Ballon d'Ors, countless Champions League, countless Premier League titles, and La Ligas and everything else. He still shows that effort. Yeah. Yet we're not seeing that level of dedication and effort from some of these players. And I don't care if the manager's leaving in a few weeks. I don't care if there isn't a Champions League place to play for anymore, because I've said myself, for me, it's been gone since the Watford draw. You've still got to try. I'm used to seeing players for Manchester United that gave their all in pre-season friendlies. I'm used to seeing players that would fight. I remember, right, once, I went to Upton Park. We were 4-0 down in the League Cup, Joe, right? 4-0 down. I think Jonathan Spector or someone crazy and got a brace or something stupid like that, right? In the 90th minute, and I'm watching this, right? Fergie rotated the team a little bit. We got beat 4-0. It's starting to snow. In the 90th minute, I was watching Ryan Giggs chasing a lost cause, right? Running the length of the pitch to chase a lost cause to make a tackle because he was playing for Manchester United Football Club. This is a player who is literally the most successful player in the world, right? In terms of what he'd won. And he was chasing down a lost cause almost in the 90th minute with his team 4-0 down in a League Cup 4th round game or whatever, because he was playing for Manchester United Football Club and because that was the standard that you were expected to live up to and because he knew what he had to do when he put on a United shirt and he had a manager like Sir Alex Ferguson that would have, expected that from everyone. You don't just turn up and think, oh, we're losing, I'm not going to bother. No. You keep going. With these players, it's a different story. I've watched us this season, right, when we're 1-0 down and I'm watching a game and if I didn't know, I would think we're 4-0 up. The way they're walking around, the way we're just playing pointless sideward passes, the way we're letting players run past us. I remember in the derby early on this season, Kevin De Bruyne was running out of our defence, out of his defence, and he fell over, right? He fell over as running with the ball, sorry. And he got up and carried on running with the ball because he had no one around him, right? And I was amazed. I was so angry. Yeah. I remember when we played Liverpool and we got beat 5-0, Cristiano Ronaldo kicks the ball at Curtis Jones. Liverpool players surround him, only Bruno and Fred stuck up for him. Yeah. And I remember thinking, like, we have reached a new low point in apathy with this team. They haven't got any fight, they haven't got any desire. And I'm not a passion merchant. And I like these players, a lot of these players anyway. I don't like just accusing them of bottling it or not caring and not that. But how many times, my point is, that was 6 or 7 months ago. Yeah. And we're still there. Yeah. How can you justify that? How can you say we've progressed or these players do care when City have battered us again, Liverpool have battered us again, Arsenal are tearing us apart? And I'm not seeing any effort from the players. No. Do you know what I mean? We all see that meme or that clip from Roy Keane, go out and smash someone. Hannibal did that the other day and I keep going on about it. And it was pretty funny, but it actually gave us something to buzz about at the end of that game. I don't even see that from these. I don't even see that where they're thinking, you know what,
today
I'm going to batter someone.
No one's getting stuck in.
I don't mean batter them physically, I mean just get stuck in.
3-1 down. And like you said, you would think that they think we're winning. Yeah. The level of intensity, the lack of speed and sharpness and willingness to do anything, whether that's something destructive or something constructive, it's just not there. They're just like Lingard says there, or Lingard supposedly said to Paul Scholes, the dressing room's an absolute mess, and they're not fighting for each other. They're not fighting for the manager. They're not fighting for the shirt. They're just not fighting for anything. In the last 9 games, sorry, I just had a look. The last 9 games since the 1-1 draw away to Atletico, 2 goals have been scored by people that weren't Cristiano Ronaldo.
In 9 games. And during those games as well, we've had the likes of Norwich and Wolves, I think, as well. There's been a few games there against Watford against
Leicester,
teams.
Everton.
No, not Wolves, sorry, Watford. Yeah. Like teams that, are rubbish. Yeah. And we've managed to...
Fred scored 1, Sancho scored 1, and the rest have scored by Ronaldo.
So Rashford, Ilanga,
none.
Bruno, none. No. And Sancho with his solitary goal. Yeah. And Fred, I'm not having to dig out because he's not really been playing. That is unbelievable. Yeah. That is unbelievable for a team like Manchester United Football Club that in 9 games against some teams that are struggling, we've got 2 players that have scored other than Cristiano Ronaldo. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. It's embarrassing. I'm actually angry at that. Yeah. I'm actually angry that a guy who's going through a lot, he probably feels like he's got to come back as soon as he can because he can't rely on his teammates to do anything without him. Yeah. It's just disgusting. Yeah. Get a grip. Show some pride. Do you know what I mean? Like, well, no matter what you do in life, you should have a bit of pride in it. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? You should have a little bit of
they're doing a shit job, is it?
No.
Like, as in, the job they've got is one of the most privileged and, sought after jobs in the world.
You remember, like, we've had times as United where we've struggled, where things haven't gone quite the way we want them to. But you've had those certain players who've been able to lift the team, who've been able to get it going. Brian Robson, when I was a kid, United was up and down a little bit, not in terms of getting relegated or anything, but was struggling a little bit. Obviously, Atkinson got sacked. Yeah. Robson was always one of those players who could carry a team, he could get results, he could, keep you motivated. Throughout our history, we've always had those types of players. Now I just don't see it. Yeah. I just don't see anyone who can lead that team, who can get it going. I don't see anyone who cares enough or who thinks like, you know what, this is my responsibility. It seems to be just, oh, do you know what? If we lose, it's not the end of the world and I won't get the blame because everyone's rubbish. Yeah. Jesse Lingard's saying the dressing room is a mess or whatever. Yeah. Why is it a mess? He's a senior player, isn't he? Yeah. Why is he not doing something about it? He's 29, isn't he? He's been here for 10 years or whatever. He's been,
been at the club for 20 years.
He's a kid, yeah. England international usually and all that. Why can he not take a bit of responsibility and say, do you know what, let's do something about it? Get him, Ronaldo, and a few others together and say, listen, let's sort it out. Do you remember when the dressing room went sour under Louis van Gaal?
Yeah.
When Carrick and Rooney got together, didn't they? And went and seen him and said, listen. So I was in a press conference where he talked about it. They said, listen, the dressing room mood is bad. What can we do to fix it?
Yeah.
And the senior pros like that lead a club. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. And at the minute, your senior pros are Paul Pogba, who's leaving, Nemanja Matic, who's leaving, Jesse Lingard, who's leaving. Juan Mata, who's leaving, probably. David De Gea, who's quite quiet by his nature. Ronaldo, who, you know, from what we've seen, is still he's still trying and scoring goals. Where's the leadership there? Yeah. I just feel like almost detached from this team. Yeah. And when I watch it, and you've played football at a decent level, any time you play football at any level, you'll see communication, you'll see shouting. Yeah. I could play five-a-side at Hardwick Pits and see more energy from vocal sort of communication from players than I see at United. And when we just sort of puts their head down, when we concede, I don't see people saying, come on, rah, rah. No. It's just like...
Well, that's like I said, that third goal went in, and there was no, rebound or bounce back from that. There was no, right, let's go again. It was just, 2 goals down.
Even if they went...
Nothing.
The minimum would have been at least kicking off with the ref about the offside.
Yeah, exactly.
That's minimum.
Yeah.
Like, he's in his way there. What are you doing?
Yeah.
I know he wouldn't have got us anywhere, but at least show you care.
Looking at goals conceded, I think apparently if we concede 4 more goals, it's the most we've ever conceded in the Premier League. United have conceded 51 goals this season. That is more than Brentford. That is 10 more than Crystal Palace, who are 14th. That is more than Aston Villa in 15th. That is more than Burnley, who are in the relegation zone. We've conceded 6 more goals than Burnley this season. We've conceded only 2 less than Everton.
And you know what shows you today as well?
More than Brighton, more than Brentford,
if you'd have said
Southampton.
that, right, and Harry Maguire was playing
today,
people would have gone, well,
it's his fault.
Maguire. But it's not even him.
No.
He's part of the problem. I'm not going to say he isn't. He don't get a pass. But it doesn't matter whether it's Harry Maguire, whether, Varane, who I like, we've started today, Lindelof, Wan-Bissaka, Dalot, Telles. It doesn't matter what combination he goes with, Ralph Rangnick. Or when it was Ole, we're just shipping goals. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? And you've got to look at it and go, how many of these players are actually not good enough? Because we've spoken a lot about energy and effort and desire. Yeah. But what about quality? I mean, you were talking about this during the watch along, where you were saying, and you were right, it's about Arsenal want it more. Arsenal trying harder. Arsenal getting to the ball quicker, and I agree with you. But there's also that quality issue with us, where I look at someone like, I don't want to dig him out, but he's a good example of it. Dalot, who's in the team because Wan-Bissaka's form's fallen off a cliff. Is Diogo Dalot good enough for any top 4 team? Yeah. Anyone with top 4 aspirations? No. Is Alex Telles? No, he's not. Let's have it right.
And also, when you look at how effective and involved fullbacks are in modern football, look at Liverpool and City, the 2 best teams in Europe, probably.
Yeah.
And add Real Madrid to that if you want. They've got Cancelo, Walker, Alexander-Arnold, Robertson, Mendy, Carvajal. Like light years ahead of us in terms of fullback. Fullbacks do everything now. Fullbacks are what David Beckham was in the 90s. They are midfielders that also have to defend. They're maybe the most important role on the pitch.
I don't even like it when people compare Trent to like fullbacks. Because I think he's just not.
No,
he's
they're like midfielders. Yeah. They're what they all like right mid used to be.
Sorry, I hate the Trent thing.
Yeah. But like ours are just so far off that. And like I said, there's definitely. I mean, the thing is, Varane today, poor performance from him, really, let's be honest, making mistakes. But we know Rafael Varane's a top centre-back. There's so many problems at the minute. I think
let's have it right,
it's going to be more than just blame everyone.
Who did Varane have in front of him at Real Madrid? Is it Casemiro?
Casemiro, Modric and Kroos. One of the best midfields ever.
You've got Ramos next to you.
Yeah.
And also...
you've got Marcelo one side and Carvalho the other side.
Like, he's quality there, but he's surrounded by class.
Yeah.
You come in here now and you've got a woefully out of form Harry Maguire, or an okay Victor Lindelof at best.
Yeah,
you've got a merry-go-round of fullbacks next year.
Yeah,
is it? He plays on the right side, Donny Varane. Is it going to be Wan-Bissaka? Is it going to be Dalot? Yeah. Is he going to move one of them over like we did?
Is it going to be Victor Lindelof? Like it was against City.
Yeah, it was against Atletico as well. I think.
Atletico, sorry, yeah.
Like, and the thing with City is they can swap Zinchenko for Cancelo as a rotation, and it's not the end of the world. We're swapping our fullbacks because one will drop a 2 out of 10, and it'll go, I can't have him again. Let's put someone else in. They'll drop a 2 out of 10 and go, Jesus wept. Let's change it back.
Yeah.
And that's just not good enough. Wan-Bissaka has been poor this season, so you bring in Delo. He had some good games, Delo, but then his form's fallen off a cliff. Yeah. Luke Shaw was shocking. Regained a little bit of form, then he gets injured again.
They're just waiting for the end of the season.
Then you got Tellez, and it's just like, there's no excuses. You shouldn't be waiting for the end of the season.
No.
You should go out onto that football pitch and think, right, okay, we're going to win this game. And I think there's certain players that do care.
Yeah.
I think, Bruno, I think his form's awful, but he cares.
Yeah.
I don't think he'll be sat home tonight with his feet up, smoking a cigar. I think he'll be looking over that penalty, fuming with himself.
Yeah.
But, Ronaldo cares. Yeah. I think De Gea cares. But then, some of the other players have that level of commitment.
Yeah, I don't know.
I hate using the word attitude. I hate it.
Yeah.
Because I think it's overused, and I think in certain circumstances it's just like a buzzword that people use just when they can't think of anything else to say.
Yeah.
But sometimes it fits. And I just look like there's some of the players, you just look like they're just on their holidays.
Fucking it off.
Cavani's, prime example, because he seems to get a pass.
Piss taker.
Yeah.
An absolute piss taker this season.
Like, doesn't give a shit.
No.
And the worst thing is, right, against City, didn't want to play. Yeah, basically trained all week and then declared himself unfit. Yeah. And Ralph Rangnick, who has been honest, and I love him in the press conferences, said, well, he trained all week and then told us he weren't fit. Yeah. The next game at Old Trafford after the City game, Cavani's warming up. I think he came on a camera, which game it was. Some people in the comments can remind me. And everyone cheering his name and singing his song. We're getting our pants pulled down.
I know.
Like, we just are.
It's just embarrassing.
I liked him last season. I don't like him this season. No. You just can't be asked.
No. Right, I think that'll do from us.
Sorry, that's a bit of a
couple of chats. Daniel Westwood says no blame on Ralph at all. He's been out in the absolute frauds, and it's been so refreshing. 3/4 of the squad are a joke. This is Woodward's legacy. Martin95 said Rangnick isn't a manager. He's there to call out the board, the owners, the recruitment staff, and the whole structure of the club, and he's doing exactly that. I mean, if we judge him on just that, he's doing more than any other sort of sitting manager has done at Manchester United. And if that can be long-term gain, then I'll take the short-term loss for that. But I'm not certain that it will be, because we said it before the review. Rangnick is calling out all the things here. He's saying the players aren't right. They're not following what I'm doing. Training shit. They're not doing what I'm saying. These aren't my tactics. We're not close to how I want to play. We're shitter than Burnley defensively, which isn't just his opinion and a scathing attack. He's literally factually right. We've conceded 6 more goals than Burnley this season. So him comparing us to Burnley isn't some, as Adam McCullough would say, exaggerating a point to make a point. It is a fact. Yeah. We are worse defensively than Burnley this season.
Yeah.
And I'm not even certain him calling all these things out will make a difference.
Yeah.
We'll cover it up somehow. We'll do the minimum thing like the Glazers have done. We're going to involve the fans. What have you done in a year?
Do you know, in any work life, you criticise someone publicly.
Yeah.
There's 2 ways it goes.
Yeah.
They either respond to it in a positive way to prove you wrong, or they sulk and spit the dummy out. And I guarantee with these lot, it'll just be like, he can fuck off.
Yeah.
I bet that's a conversation.
We'll barely involve him in this advisory role now.
Do you know what I mean? It's just like...
We've got to see which way they go with it. At least he's doing something.
Nah, I don't mind Rangnick. I think he's, I like the fact he's being honest. I just think as a coach, it's just not worked for him.
No.
It hasn't. And, and I'm not saying we shouldn't have appointed him, we shouldn't got him involved, because I think that those 2 points can still be true, because if he was the one that pushed for us to get Ten Hag, if that was his sort of, him that wanted that more so than Poch, and Ten Hag ends up being a success. If he works with Ten Hag and brings us success, it'll be worth this short-term pain for him. But we have to wait and see what happens, because definitely. It's too soon to go, oh, well, he's going to be a rip-roaring success as a consultant, or Ten Hag's even going to be a success, because Ten Hag is inheriting the worst Manchester United squad I've ever seen. Yeah. Genuinely.
There you go. Right, Man United have lost again, this time to Arsenal. Tune in on Thursday for a trip to... Oh, it's not a trip to Stamford Bridge.
It's a defeat at home to Chelsea.
It's a defeat at home to Chelsea. That'll be 3 in a row for Manchester United, and we'll be here covering every single second of it at Stretford Paddock. Get your thoughts in the comments. Thank you very much for watching. We'll see you in a bit.